Hello, everyone. Today we're starting the Plantex podcast series and we're starting with coloring. We're going to dive into the basics of food coloring with our technical director, Daniel Tomei, and our color specialist, Matthew Standen.
Natural colours are additives that are derived from a natural source. So it could be mineral, plant, vegetable, animal. The starting material is a natural source as opposed to a synthetic source like you might expect with tartrazine, which is an azo dye, so it's made synthetically. Petroleum.
Can you tell me what are coloring foodstuffs? What are they?
So colouring foodstuff is different to a natural colour. It's from a ingredient. It's the way it's processed. So colouring foodstuff isn't selectively extracted like a natural colour. It's from what's classed as kitchen methods. So it's crushing, pressing, and concentration from ingredients such as beetroots.
Is it the same thing that you were explaining earlier about the paprika, the cold pressed one?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So typically, colour additives are extracted using solvents or special processes that highly extract and concentrate just the pigments, just the molecules that are responsible for colouring, for the colour that's provided. Selective extraction leaves behind components of the original starting material, like the flavour or the smell or the nutritive sort of qualities. You are only extracting out of that crude material pigment, and that gives you a highly concentrated colour.
So if natural colours are coming from fruit and vegetables, and coloring foodstuffs are the same.
Yeah, it's
So
the
what's the
processing.
difference?
It's the processing. That's the only difference. It's the way
Selective
it's
extraction.
So selective extraction is natural colours.
Yeah. A natural colour can be selectively extracted happily.
So that's more orangey paprika, that's natural colour. The cold compressed one would be a coloring foodstuff.
Yeah. So what you're getting is E160C paprika is selectively extracted using solvents like butane and hexane, and that just strips out the pigment from the capsicum. So you've got a really strong, highly concentrated solution of the pigment. When we cold press paprika to make the colouring foodstuff, we just squash. We squeeze out all of the oil from the pods, and everything that comes out as a result of that process is collected and used. So yes, there will be pigment in there that will create an orange colour, but there will also be other typical constituents of paprika in there. So there will be some capsicum, for example. There will be other aromatics that come out of that extraction, and that's a non-selective extraction. So that is just taking everything. So a colouring foodstuff is going to have some flavour. It's going to have more aroma. And it might not be as intense as the natural colour equivalents.
Okay. And what are E numbers?
E-numbers. So natural colours are E-numbers, essentially.
Okay, so
Anything?
only natural colours.
No, because the synthetic colours are also E-numbers as well.
Yeah. E-number was kind of developed.
It's the European way of labelling a colour.
Okay, can coloring foodstuffs be E numbers?
No. So E-numbers are used essentially to keep a track and record of any ingredients, any additives that are put into any foodstuffs.
Okay.
So not just a colour will have a E-number. Something like ethanol, which we use in our flavours, that has an E-number. Glycerine has an E-number. It's a big database of ingredients used in the food industry.
And in which cases should these be preferred? I mean, is it just a question of cost? Because I know that the coloring foodstuffs, I think they cost the most since they're coming from the fruits and the process. But is it just a question of cost, or the customer is choosing the color?
No.
Okay.
So there will be a few things that you will take into consideration. One is the process. So if you've got if your application is very high heat, very acidic, you may not be able to use certain colouring foodstuffs because they wouldn't be stable. Then it could be the other reasons that you might choose between these options is labelling. So if you want a really nice clean label at the back of your pack, you would go for colouring foodstuffs. That's those colouring foodstuffs are labelled as ingredients like sugar or flour or anything like that at the back of the pack. A colour additive, that will be labelled with an E number. Well, it doesn't have to have an E number, but it definitely has to be prefixed by the word colour. So you can use colour paprika, or you can have colour E160C. And then right back down to the other end is your artificial colours, which are very cheap. They have high colouring potency, and you use them in very low dosages, and they don't really, but the label on the back is very undesirable. It's an undesirable label so particularly the Southampton 6, which were 6 artificial colours that were linked in the study to causing sort of problems in children. So things,
And do you think, like in the future, we would have like a range of coloring foodstuffs that would actually be stable in all situations?
Potentially.
Yeah,
potentially, because we're always discovering new and different ingredients to use, which have different properties depending on the application they want to be used in. So yes, potentially there may be the case for that.
What was the last coloring foodstuff that has proven to be stable that didn't used to be?
Probably something like that butterfly pea extract that Dan was talking about.
Say the name again.
Butterfly pea?
Butterfly pink, okay.
Yeah, it's a stable blue colour, heat stable, to replace spirulina. Because spirulina is not heat stable, and it's very
And can that
pH.
be plant-based? The
Butterfly pea?
Yeah, it's from it's plant-based. Yeah, it's a petal of a plant.
Okay, so it's not from butterfly.
No.
I was really
Just
thinking.
pulling the wings off the
That's
butterfly.
what I was actually thinking. Does the spray drying impact the colors?
In terms of what?
Does it change its stability? Does it change its strength?
So
It's just turning a liquid into a powder,
yeah.
which is the main idea behind the
But
spray
what
drying.
does it change else?
So what spraying does is it evaporates water away, and so by that effect, it would have a concentrating effect. So, if you evaporate all the water and don't replace it with anything, you concentrate it down.
Yeah.
However, to be honest, what we do is we evaporate the water and replace it with a carrier, like maltodextrin. So no, I wouldn't say it changes the colour at all. What I would say it does is it increases its stability and shelf life. So a liquid spirulina concentrate has to be kept refrigerated, probably has 6 to 9 month shelf life depending on the preservatives that are in it.
Okay.
A spray dried spirulina powder is going to have a shelf life of 12 to 24 months and will be able to be kept ambient. So the main reason for that is that we've taken all the water out of that product, made it more microbiologically stable. I would say that's other than that, the main reasons are application. So, if you're making a beverage and the beverage is comprised of 95% liquids, it doesn't make sense to be adding a powder into that. And vice versa. So into sports nutrition, which is primarily powder blends, you would be spray drying your colour into a powder to then incorporate into a powder blend.
Are synthetic colors still used? Like,
They are.
how widely?
So, firstly, they're not commonly used within Europe anymore.
Okay.
So what you find is they are still being used outside of Europe. So where they come into their own is in very hot countries.
You're not using them locally anymore.
We don't, no. I mean, we would suggest artificial colours in a very select number of cases, primarily if you're looking for a baked, stable, bright blue colour.
Are they illegal or are they just not preferred?
They're not illegal, but they have special labelling. So, if you're using one of the Southampton 6, they have special labelling, which, if you're using something like tartrazine, you have to mention on the packet that it can cause adverse reactions in children. So that obviously has a massive negative connotation, especially if you're putting it into something like a confectionery sweet or something like that, which is probably aimed at being given to children. It doesn't really make much sense.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. To know more about the products we offer, visit our website www.plantex.com and follow our LinkedIn page Plantex Ingredients. All of these links and more will be in the description of this episode. See you in the next one. Bye bye.